What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that like button. Excuse me. Hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for David Makes Man, Season 1, Episode 2. Okay. See, this why I ain't want to start reviewing this show. I knew it. Something in my soul told me. I'm going to apologize now to El Teddy and to Ebony. I didn't like this episode. David got on my last nerve the whole episode. You're not gonna convince me that somebody is this smart and at the same time this damn dumb. Let's go on and talk about it. So we start the episode off. Mama coming home from a long night at work. She put her key in the door. JG is off the hook. Why is JG? Hey mama, because he done peed the bed again, and they trying to hide it from their mama. I got questions. One, why does little boy still pee in the bed? I said last week that it might be some deeper trauma, it may be a bigger story, whatever. And why they hiding it from their mama? Like, is she gonna beat him? Is it like what's the issue? I mean, I know he's too old to be peeing in the bed. I get that. Maybe he's embarrassed or whatever. But clearly, there's an issue that this boy is peeing in the bed every night. Maybe he's just too damn lazy to get up when he feel the little tingle tingle. I don't know. Maybe he sleeps too hard and he don't feel the tingle tingle. I don't know what the problem is, but I know him peeing that bed every damn night and David getting up every morning and washing them daggone sheets. Now again, Anyway, moving on. So we find out that is his name JG, the little boy, the brother, is going to his grandfather's house. Now, clearly, him and David have a different daddy because it ain't his granddaddy. And wherever the granddaddy lives, he gotta get on 2 buses and a train to get there. So it's an event for him to go to his grandfather's house. Clearly, JG, is that the little boy name? Clearly, he likes going to his grandfather's house because he is excited. You can't tell him nothing, baby. He ready to go. He's off the hook. This little boy off the hook. He bad as hell. He needs ass whooping. So if his mama is gonna whip his ass for peeing the bed, he need it. Little boy bad. He trying to tell David why you scared because when they leaving, David is still avoiding old boy with the red dreads, right? And because he know that he fell asleep on lookout the other night, and he knows something coming. He don't know when, where, how it's gonna come to him, but he knows something coming. He know what hood justice look like. So they get to walking. He done walked all the way around the complex, looking around corners. JG talking about something. You scared of him? I murked them. Well, that's what he said to his mama. He gonna tell his mama he murked them niggas. His mama was like, say what? You do what the who? See? Pop! Pop his ass. Anyway, he wouldn't have got past I murked them. That's where the sentence would have ended. I murked it. Because then he'd be rubbing his lip. Because it'd be numb. Because I'd be just smacked it. Anyway, so they walk into the bus stop. Here come Red Boy with the dreads. I said Red Boy with the dreads instead of Boy with the red dreads. Running to get on the bus. Now, y'all, that just took me back to my childhood. Running for that daggone Metro bus. Hold the bus! Hold the bus! Hold the bus! And if it's somebody you don't like, you would look back and be like, child, please. Now, if it's somebody you like, you'd break dance in the doorway to make sure they made it to the bus. But if it's somebody you ain't like, I don't hear him. And that's exactly what David did. David was like, hurry up, get on that bus, sit down, don't you say nothing. And of course, old boy jumps on the bus just at the nick of time. And he came through that door like, I said, the look he had when he came through that door, I said, oh, he about to kill David ass right here. So he's like latching on to David and them. He's like, where y'all going? Oh, well, I ride with y'all. I got to protect y'all, blah, blah, blah. David knows something's up. He know that this ain't no free ride. He know that this boy ain't forgiving him. He knows something going on. He just ain't figured out the who, the what, the where. Now, here's where I'm saying that David is stupid, at least in my opinion. Y'all fight me in the comments. El Teddy, I know me and you going to have it out about it. But my thing is this. Yes, you know something's coming. Yes, you know that this boy don't mean you no good. However, you're making the situation worse by being so obviously rude to this dude. Like, he owe you an ass whooping. Why you being so nasty? I mean, he was just being downright rude to this boy. And I'm not saying y'all friends, you gotta be nice to him, but I don't know. I just didn't understand this whole episode. Him just, what you want? Why you following us? What's this really? I'm like, calm your ass down. It will reveal itself in time. So they get off the bus and JG still isn't that little boy name anyway. The little brother is still tripping. He repping the hood that his granddaddy live in and the hood that he from, and they get to arguing. David and Red Dread get to arguing, and um JG says something about, and they were like, "Why you? How you gonna rep both hoods?" And he was like, "You rep the Ville, and you ain't from the Ville." He was like, "But that's where his daddy from." And Red Dread was like, "Oh, so y'all don't have the same daddy?" Again, getting back to Red Dread feeling like David is his brother. So this episode irritated my soul, y'all. So JG said something about don't be talking about my daddy. And he act like he gonna fight Red Dread. No, good damn well you ain't fighting nobody, little firecracker. And David was like, chill out. You know, he lost his, he's like, my daddy dead. He was like, chill out, his daddy dead too. And Red Dread was like, you know, that's something we got in common, you know, little man. And, you know, he was like, we all family. And he keep looking at David, like he keep throwing it to David. He keeps throwing it to David. And even if he doesn't have any proof, he really in his heart of hearts feel like there's something there, there's a connection there with Sky, him, and David. So they drop JG off. They get to Granddaddy house. JG living the good life over Granddaddy house. He got a PlayStation. Granddaddy then gave him some brand new sneakers. He got a refrigerator full of snacks. And it is clear that they don't really fuck with David like that. They ain't invite David to come in the house. They ain't really acknowledge David. They wasn't like, oh, hey, how you doing? Red Dread, you know, talking sweet. He called the man Bishop. Granddaddy was like, ain't nobody called me that in a long time. He was like, well, you know, I respect my elders. Now, I don't know if Bishop, like, he really was a man of God, Bishop, and he no longer has a church because he clearly ain't running a church no more. Or if that was his street name, Bishop, and he was, like, big time on the street because he said somebody respecting his elders and stuff. And again, I don't know if he mean elder in the sense of elder or elder in the sense of street game. You know, I'm respect you from because you was you know, you were old head in the game. Then wasn't quite figuring that out yet, but I feel like that's what it was. Not that he was a man of God. um, and you know, once JG get to Granddaddy house, he don't have no more use for David. He like, all right then, you know. So they get the rolling out. Um, Red tells David, look, he said, look, you know I owe you an ass whooping. All I'm asking you to do is because David is trying to ditch him. He's being nasty to him. He's like, look, I just want to hang out with you. I just want to chill and hang out with you for the day. I'm going to my uncle's house. It's gonna be a block party. I already got a girl coming for you because he done knew some of the girl. He knew one of the girls up in the granddaddy house, and he didn't convince her to come to the block party and bring a friend for David. He was like, look, I just want us to hang out. And David knew it was more to it than that, and I knew it was more to it too. But my thing was, again, you know, you got to ass whooping coming. So figure it out. I don't know. It was just irritating me. The way he was acting was just irritating me. So they get to the uncle's house, and because David said something to him before about, don't you have a car? Like, why are you riding the bus with us? And he was like, my car at my uncle's house. And I was like, oh, okay, the car done broke down or something. He gets to the uncle's house, and it's a banana yellow Mustang or some sort of sports car. Maybe it's a Dodge Charger, whatever. I don't know. You know, they all look the same to me. Up on stilts, and it's on the side. It's fucked up on the side. So, oh, do y'all know that you? No, I ain't gonna say it. I ain't gonna say it. Anyway, so it's messed up on the side, and he starts telling the story about what happened. David's like, what happened to the car? And he starts telling the story. He was joyriding. He was drag racing basically on 95, and he hydroplaned. He said he skid all the way across the highway into the sun, which is like the easy pass lane down there, and ended up crashing. He said, I walked away without a scratch though. I was like, see, that's God, that's favor. He said, I was trying to show off in front of some girls, and and got it, overdid it. He said he was so mad. He started talking about Sky, and he goes off and he starts talking about his father, and how he always loved his father. And all he wanted was, basically, he was telling David, all I ever wanted was the relationship with my father that you have with my father, and I just don't understand why I never had that relationship with him. He was like, you didn't get what I got. You didn't get the sky that I got. And he's trying to explain to him, um, and then they sort of bond on a couple of things about Sky. Some of this because he used to say the Serenity Prayer, act like it was his, and and David was like, "Nah, I seen that. I done seen that prayer written in some of my mama Alcoholics Anonymous stuff." He said, "Well, he had a way of doing that, making stuff seem like it was his." And so they kind of bond for a minute. Before that, they went to the park and they had a little moment where he was teaching David how to flirt with girls. They were eating some pineapple. Now I don't know if the pineapple was laced with something or if it had alcohol in it, because David seemed to loosen up a little bit after he ate the pineapple. He seemed to, kind of go along with it. And him and Dreadhead were having a really good time for a minute. Then the uncle pulls up. The uncle damn near hit their ass. And the uncle gets out the car. He speaks to his nephew. He don't even acknowledge David. David was like, "Hey, sir," and left him hanging. And I was like, "Okay, here we go." So the dude that is driving, the other guy that's with them, David, is something there, y'all. I don't know. He recognizes that guy, and it's something that guy in connection to probably something that happened to Sky. I feel like that either that was the dude that shot Sky, or Sky had some sort of beef with him, or it's something there. He know who that dude is, and he was just staring at him. And the dude was like, "Can I help you?" And they sound like they're Haitian. They have an accent. They sound like they're Haitian. I could be wrong. Don't kill me in the comments, but there's definitely an accent there. And I just know in Miami there are a lot of Haitians down in Miami. So um, what we find out is that the uncle is a drug dealer, and he's basically got his nephew, selling for him down in the projects. So he trying to act like he big, HNIC down in the projects, but he really ain't. He working for the uncle, and so the uncle is basically going off on the nephew, like, "Why would you bring a stranger into my house, especially knowing we got business to conduct? I don't know him, and you don't brought him up in here while we conducting business." He got David sitting in the other room while they at the table cutting up the coke and the money and all that other stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, he still know what y'all doing. Like, like if he is the ops, you ain't really hot. He know what y'all doing. So he get to yelling at him. The uncle get to yelling at the nephew about what happened the other night. Like, why is your money funny? He was like, "What, why is it so slow down there? Like, what's the deal?" He was like, if you can't handle it, tell me you can't handle it. If it's too much for you, you tell me it's too much for you. He was like, "But what's really going on?" And he starts fussing at him about what happened the other night. About, he said, "How the police get the drop on you? Like, what's that about? You said the police are following you, the police are coming around. Like, how they get the drop on you though? You ain't taking care of it." And so David stands up and says, "It was me." He said, "I was on lookout. I was slipping. It was me." That immediately gets the uncle's respect, because the uncle was like, "Okay, you taking responsibility for it. Let me talk to you, young blood." And the nephew, that does it. The nephew was just like, "Oh, really?" And he ends up talking to David and chopping it up with David. And he was like, and they got to talking about Sky. And he was like, "I didn't sell for Sky." No, he said, "I didn't work for Sky." He said, "So wait a minute, you was lookout boy for Sky and you wasn't making no money? Like, I'm supposed to think that that's righteous or something? That's stupid. Why would you work for him but not get paid for working for him?" He was like, "Look, Sky was nickel and diamond. Sky ain't dealing with no real stuff." He said, "I got this product here and I'm trying to work it down there and see if it'll catch on." And what he has is prescription drugs. He's like, "I want to start, I want to try my hand down in the projects and see if it's gonna work." He said, "But I need somebody I can rely on." And he basically propositions David to become an employee. The nephew the whole time pissed off. And every time the nephew tried to jump in the conversation, the uncle cuts him off. Uncle's talking to him like shit. You know what I'm saying? He cutting him off. He telling him to shut up. He telling him, you go over there somewhere. And David is very nicely trying to tell that man no, he ain't interested. But you're sort of in a situation where you can't say no. Like, he asked, but he wasn't really asking. And what ends up happening is, while him and the uncle are having this conversation, they're putting the drugs in his book bag, because David had a book bag the whole time. They're putting the drugs in his book bag. And so nephew comes from in the back room with the book bag full, talking about something, it's time to go. And uncle's like, "Oh, all right then, let me know how you feel about it, bruh. That kind of thing. But again, he wasn't really asking David. So they go outside and the party then got started. He gives nothing, Red gives David the book bag and says, "Look, all I need you to do is take this back to the hood, drop it off with, the other dude, his little partner, and we're square. I won't even come after you about what happened the other night. Like we good. Like that's all I need you to do. Just take these damn drugs back home." And at that point, he's dismissed. Ain't no more, the girl that showed up with her friend. It ain't no more coming party with me. It ain't no more. And I think he meant it in the beginning. I do. I don't. I think that the way things went with the uncle is what changed the trajectory of that day. Because I think in the beginning he really meant let's party. I got a girl coming for you. I really think he meant that. But then the way things went with the uncle, it went left. And now you just need to get your ass home. And now I feel like David is a part of. Y'all ever seen that movie The Warriors, where they got to get through enemy territory and get home? That's how I feel now. Now I feel like David is on this whole mission to get home. And of course, we heard at the beginning that it's 3 buses and a train. David don't want to do it, but once again, what options does David have? Like, what are you gonna say? No? You in enemy territory, you in the middle of it. Like, if you say no, you dead at that point. So he rolls out, he gets on the first bus. Somebody, now here's what the dumb ass opens up the damn book bag. So of course, the minute he opens up the book bag, he got a brick of weed in there. So now the bus smells like weed. Here goes somebody on the front of the bus. Who in here loud? Talking about the weed. She said, somebody in here got that loud. And of course, David looking, why the hell you open up the damn book bag? And then he saw what the prescription drugs were. He done wrote the name of the drugs down, and he looking at them, looking at the side effects and all that other stuff. So he done figured that part out. He gets off the bus because now he realizes that he smells. He gets off the bus, goes into the grocery store, and buys those big oven bags of like you can cook a big chicken or something in. He buys some of those so he can wrap the weed up. The lady looking at him thinking he in there trying to steal. She talks to the police. We thinking that, oh my gosh, the police gonna ask to search his bag, thinking he done stole something. But he ends up getting out the store. But now he done spent his money for the bus. Now the whole time his mama calling him. Phone done went dead because his mama keep calling and he ain't answering. This is them back in the day phones. Battery ain't last for that long. He asked the same girl that was yelling at him about being loud, if he could use her phone. And she gave him a hard time about it, but she finally calls his mother. Mother was like, "Look, David, don't let me beat you home. You get your ass back home." David realized he don't have enough for the bus. He get to walking. He walking. He walking. He tired. He thirsty. He walking. He rolls up on a park. He sees a fountain. Of course, the fountain don't work. Next thing you know, he sees this beautiful woman standing in front of a cooler drinking a nice cold bottle of water. I thought he was hallucinating. He thought he was hallucinating too. She was like, "Nah, you ain't hallucinating. I'm real. It's me." They get to talking. She was like, "What's your name?" And of course he doing that. He ain't answering shit. He ain't got nothing to say. She was like, "Well, you kind of rude, aren't you?" And they get to talking, and then she was like, he finally tells her his name, and I forgot what he said to her, but basically she said, "Oh, you got eyes on you." Next thing you know, all these people come out the bushes. David done rolled up on the stroll because all of them are prostitutes and they are trans. You see transgender women and everything else. I said, "Oh, he done rolled up on the stroll. He done rolled up on the stroll." So they got to talking, and she let him know that she could smell the weed on him. So once again, I'm like, you did all of that, and we can still smell the weed on you, which means that the same lady that clocked you on the damn bus, when you asked to use your phone, she ain't smell the weed. The police officer didn't smell the weed. Like, I was like, come on, stop it. Like, all of this, come on. So they get to talking, and she lets him know, she told him where she was going. She said, "You waiting for the bus?" And he never tells her he doesn't have any money. He was like, "Yeah, I'm waiting on the bus." And there's another young guy there, young boy. I think they said they called him Star or something like that. They hear a car coming, and she tells him, she said, "All right, y'all go get that bus now. Y'all can leave. Y'all leave, go." And she's telling them to get the hell out of there. One of the prostitutes rolls up with one of her tricks, and they get to beating the man up, and it's a whole nother scene going on over there. David and Angel, they walk off. His name is Angel or Star or something like that. They walk off and they go to get on the bus. Mind you, still smelling like weed. Because if she smelled the weed on you, you still smell like weed. At this point, it smelled like weed and funk. Because David, I swear, David sweat like a hoe in church on Sunday. I don't know, but they get on the bus and Star ends up paying David's way. He was like, I got it. So he ends up paying David's way. They end up, getting off the bus and walking towards the projects. They go into the same place. They get to the projects, and the property manager from last week, the one that said I know was a drag, you can tell she's a drag queen, but I'm not sure if they're transgender or not. Um, he's waiting for her. And he was like, "Oh, look at you showing up with gifts." And I thought she was talking about the book bag and the drugs. She's talking about the little boy. They running some sort of underground LGBT Q plus underground railroad. This young man, he didn't ran away from home and he didn't came down there. He's a little gay young man, and she was waiting for him. That's the package she was talking about, because the friend back to the hostel was supposed to get him back home, get him to her. And you see, him. She said, "Look, far as anybody ask you, we're relatives, we're family, and that's all they need to know. Let me tell you the rules of the house." So she must be running some sort of safe house, for these youth that are running away from home and on the streets and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I see what that is. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And then, sorry, shouts out to James Caldwell. I got that from him. Cool, cool, cool. So then David takes the book bag to the dude he's supposed to be dropping the book bag off to. He talking about something. What the? It took you long enough. What the hell? So he was like, "Come on up." David was like, "I ain't coming up there. You come down here and get it." He was like, "You want me to come to you?" David was like, "If you want this book bag, you gonna come down here. I ain't coming up there." So he was like, "All right, meet me by the wall." Shit. So David goes to walk around the wall. Who's he see standing in front of him? Sky, which of course we know is a vision at this point. And he's talking to Sky. He said, I know. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry." Because again, what we see here is that Scott never wanted that life for David. Now, again, we still don't know the full extent of this relationship between Sky and David, but we clearly know that that is not the relationship that he wanted for him. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's something there. We'll get to, I'm sure we'll keep going and get to the whole story. So the drug dealer sees David standing there talking to him, basically talking to himself, saying, "I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I know." And next thing we see is David stumbling into the house, honey. He beats his mama barely, but he beats her home. And something else happened, y'all. Hold on. No, that's it. I just had to double check, make sure I didn't forget nothing. No, that's it. He beat his mama home, and that's the last thing. Is we hear his mama coming in the house saying, "David, I'm home." Look, y'all. I'ma stick with it. But David got on my nerves. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments, please.